Greetings, fellow investigators, and welcome back to our video podcast, Into the Darkness, where my friends and I are playing the Delta Green role-playing game. I'm your host, Tom Rayleigh. The scenario is Phlebotomy. It was written by Jeff Muller and his crew. It's from the collection Fear's Sharp Little Needles. It's available from Drive-Thru RPG. Our game master is John Dos Passos, and this is episode 2. Our recap will be given by Julian Arbaugh as his character, Agent Parsnip. So without any further delay, let's continue our journey into the darkness. Julian?
Okay. Paperwork. Got to do paperwork. After a brief respite from our experience as a focus group, we were called to investigate an incident at the phlebotomy clinic. We posed as a joint task force of CDC, FBI, and had to work fast before the real task force arrived. Inside the clinic were Keith Richards, a police officer, and 2 witnesses, Lucy, a patient, and Nancy, a nurse. Keith had barricaded something inside the lab that had attacked and killed several patients. Agents Prawn and Paragon entered through the rear of the clinic to secure and neutralize any threats in the lab. Interviewing Lucy and Nancy, we learned that London Sinclair had apparently visited the clinic for blood work that morning. And just following her departure, a man we later identified as Frank Phillips entered the lab, then quickly left after being questioned by the staff. His involvement in the events that occurred at the clinic is unknown. Eyewitnesses then described screams from the lab, whereupon Nurse Jolene was found dead with a needle jammed in her eye, and another patient, Mr. Kranick, had exploded into various bits, which crawled around and violently attacked remaining patients. Agent Patch convinced Keith to report that a celebrity stalker had attacked London Sinclair and that a firefight ensued between police and the celebrity stalker, resulting in the death of Lenny, his partner, and some clinic patients. The police are all heroes, our group will clean things up, and all will be fine. Agent Prada intercepted a paparazzi looking for London Sinclair and successfully convinced him that no one was there. With all the threats neutralized, investigation of the scene revealed that London had swapped a clean needle for a needle that had just been used on herself. And this contaminated needle allowed her blood to infect the next patient, Mr. Kranick, resulting in the thing that we found in the lab. At this point, evidence suggests that direct fluid transfer is necessary to transmit the infection, and that living things can only be infected. We are left with a number of questions about London's motives and goals. So our next steps involve possibly setting up an interview with London, tracking down Frank Phelps, tracing London's phone number perhaps, investigating London's family connection with the Farnsworth Bells. There's apparently a sex tape, and we probably should look into the Ferguson Clinic in Texas. Also, we shut down an old green box site and transferred the contents to a new site along with some items that we collected from our focus group. We made sure to put notes, do not open the box, and certainly do not listen to the sock monkey because it lies. Next report will be coming soon as further developments.
Awesome, thank you, Parsnip. So I believe we were at. I think we all ended with you all back at the motel, I believe. You had just done some research, and so you were all there. Free to speak from each other. Make sure if you didn't at the end of last session, D4 -1 for any of those skills that you failed from last time, and then we can jump right into it.
What does everybody want for dinner?
Can we get a curry?
Oh, actually, I like that better. Parsnip, good idea.
Right. That sounds wonderful. I bet you there's just oodles of curry Indian places here in Cleveland.
I'll check Google.
Metropolitan Cleveland, thank you.
There's at least one.
I was just gonna make a hot pocket, but I mean, if you're buying,
I'll buy it.
Chip in.
Well, what are we thinking?
I was thinking that we could make almost a kind of evidence board in the green box. Just, get the red thread and the
red
photos.
string.
Oh yeah, just to really lay everything out, because there's a lot of things I think we're overlooking if everything's connected. Like Dr. Kleck, doesn't he have a clinic or an office in Texas? That might be worth looking into, because Dr. Kleck is the doctor for London Sinclair. That might be one way to get to her.
that's the Ferguson Clinic, right?
I think so.
He actually has an office. Let me check. He mentioned the Ferguson Clinic in his, but he doesn't work there himself.
We also have Miss Sinclair's phone number. And I think one of you may have a contact that could help us trace that. Pawn or Paragon, maybe? Certainly not myself.
I could probably run it through the FBI.
We can
Might-
also check this,
Yeah.
the social media. I'm sure that they all know where she's been.
Really quiet, though.
If we are
I'm-
to go out of state, would we be doing that together, or would we be splitting up?
I suppose it depends on the danger factor. If we're just researching stuff at a hospital or something, then we should always have at least two.
Yes. I'm not sure at this point even a hospital is particularly safe. Depends if London's been there first.
Yeah, what's her game plan? We got to figure that one out.
We need to look into, have we looked into the bodyguard, the alleged cousin / co-star of the infamous tape? Do we need to watch that tape? Is there any value in that?
I don't really want to watch a sex tape.
I
Yeah,
don't
I'm good.
either. Is there any value in it is my question.
Yeah, we have a woman who has had sex, or supposedly been with the boyfriend, and he exploded. And we think that it has something to do with body fluids.
Mhm.
Obviously, the person in the sex tape didn't explode.
Allegedly
And
her
now-
cousin, I think, which
Yes.
makes sense.
Well, that
Maybe he has an immunity.
Yeah,
maybe
but-
simply to see if he has the same. I mean, there's no reason to watch the sex tape, but if we can identify the person in at least procure the sex tape, see who's stars in it.
It was rumored to be her cousin, and the immunity would make sense because they'd have the Farnsworth blood.
I have a question for John.
Yes.
Was when London came to the clinic, there was a guy with her.
Yes.
Was that her cousin?
Yes, it was. It was Jezebel.
Okay.
And he's somewhat known about as a public figure. I mean, mostly, if you look him up, you'll get mentions of London falling. That's about all he's ever really been in to hit the public eye. But he was a character on there, and so you can kind of confirm from the pictures that is indeed Jezebel.
Jess, you're saying Jezebel?
Yes, Jezebel. Yes, I believe
somewhere back in the notes.
Yeah, if you still have the Wikipedia article, he should be mentioned in that. You have.
Yeah. Mhm.
I'm thinking that we need to have a full workup on the profile of Miss London.
Mhm.
Where was she born? Who was her parents? Where has she been? Is there
We have
any
some of
place,
that.
any moment that she disappeared and then was found?
I have a
Yeah.
hunch. I have a hunch that Dr. Kleck has a big piece of that puzzle.
He did seem to be collecting information on her.
Yeah. And I wouldn't mind getting a little payback.
She was adopted. We know that, Prada. And if the information about her birth parents is known to her, it's not out there in the public.
Well, part of what it seemed in the case of the Farnsworths were that John was abducting these people and then subjecting them to some kind of trauma, which they would either die of or they would manifest their powers and come into their own. But I imagine there's got to be a level of insanity once you've come through. If Miss London has done that, she could be stark raving mad.
I mean, by all accounts, she seems to be. She's talking about moon people, guiding her actions. According to the psychiatrist reports.
Perhaps we need to maybe ask less questions, find Miss Moonbeams, Miss London, and take her out.
Now we're talking. That's a plan I can get behind.
We'd have to make it look like an accident. We'd have to make it look like, we'd have to make it untraceable back to us.
She's a social media person. Yeah.
She's a young starlet who has a history of addiction problems. We can make that
right.
We can frame that easily.
No, we can't. She's resistant to medicine and drugs.
Right.
Like cocaine.
I'm just saying framing it to look like it was all,
If we can extract information out of that and find out there must be a larger conspiracy going on than just her. And the Farnsworth Farms.
I mean, this whole damn family. Yeah. What was she doing in Ohio? Coincidence. I don't feel like it's a coincidence. There's the farm's here.
You said maybe she targeted this person. Maybe we do need to look into these people here and see if it was
she doesn't know who her family is, but maybe Jess Bell does, her cousin. And so maybe that she's in Ohio because perhaps Jess Bell has his family here. Just a thought.
You're thinking he could be manipulating her, perhaps?
She knows maybe who her parents are. She met Jess after getting in touch with her biological parents. That information is somewhere out there.
The thing is that if her blood is toxic to life forms such as ours, then regardless, she needs to be eliminated. She needs to be eliminated before a real doctor figures out what's going on and it becomes public knowledge. Or worse, the military figures it out and weaponizes her in some way.
She doesn't have a permanent address, so that's going to be difficult.
She must make flight plans and book hotels and things like that.
And does the trail end with just killing London Sinclair? Are there loose ends that we need to tie up?
I think there's something bigger going on here that we have.
There's Dr. Kleck.
I hear you, Paragon, and I agree.
We have to. But is that our job? Yeah, we have to clean this up as much as we can. Because I don't know if you remember, but if she talked with the cult, they knew who I was. So I'm going scorched earth on this.
They did know who you were.
It's okay, Pawn. If we need to eliminate you, we'll make it quick and silent, and you won't feel it coming.
Sure.
The research that BB was doing way back, was there any mention in her research about the toxicity of her blood?
I didn't run into any of that, did you?
I believe so. I think they were trying to isolate the rapid healing factor that seems to be the genetic trait throughout the family, but it didn't mention toxicity.
Yeah, it seems like she had gotten some private and public grants to do exactly that, just to try to distill her mutation to sort of make some sort of beneficial blood clotting formula, or perhaps even more devious means of perhaps weaponizing the government might have been giving her grants for that. But it sounded like from her notes she was mostly trying to medical applications.
Okay. I can't imagine she wouldn't have combined it at some point with normal blood. But with what we know about London, she seems to think she has some extra calling to marry the man for the dark side of the moon. Some nonsense like that. Is she some sort of prophet, special holy person for this group?
Well, I didn't consider it until you said that, but what if we're completely wrong? What if the Farnsworth problem is a completely different problem? Because as far as I know, the Farnsworths are completely compatible with regular humans. John didn't make people explode. He had babies.
Yeah. Good point.
James,
She, on
but
the other
yes.
hand, explodes. It causes. What if she's something from another side in this? Like a counter.
And she's getting awful close to the Bell group, and I don't like having two sides that like each other that much.
Yeah. She was adopted. Is she
They
really
give her
a
up
Bell?
for adoption. If her parents were in on all, maybe they are not, but if they are in on this whole clan thing, then it seems like they're the kind of people to keep it all tight, close.
What if that was the point? What if her
Send her
parents
out.
were moon people, and that's why they planted her? I don't know. I'm wildly speculating on
Sure.
crazy nonsense. Most of this
you're-
is going to be just nonsense.
You're talking about a woman who it seems like throughout her life, everyone who has been close to her, with the exception of her cousin, has had a bad habit of dying.
Yeah.
That's very suspicious.
Well, let's extend that habit to her and her cousin, and then maybe from whatever they leave behind, we can come up with some extra theory. But I'd like them dead first, and then we'll ask questions.
Let's go over the status of London. Like, we know she's resistant to the drugs and medicine. We know she's also resistant to bullets because of Farnsworth Bell blood. We know that she doesn't drive herself, and she always gets driven around by her cousin. So maybe there's a vulnerability there. I definitely want to check out the rehab center she haunts.
Yeah,
But that's in Texas.
The vulnerability. They always say follow the money. She might be able to hide some of her stuff, but if we start looking into her finances, we're going to start to see what her activity is. Where is she spending her money? That you can't exactly hide unless you're illegally doing it, which I don't think she'd be able to get away with that.
Yeah, I guess as you're flipping through here, I think it would probably be Patch, because I think Patch mentioned the wiki. As you look through it again, with mention of the car, it seems that yes, at the very end of the personal life section, it mentions that she is well known, however, for refusing to drive anywhere since the automobile accident, which refers to in 2007 her birth parents were tragically killed in an automobile accident. She barely survived the crash from the backseat of the car.
I want to
still think
look
she
into
killed
that.
Does her adoptive parents?
I want to look into that and see how legitimate it actually was. Because that could be a story that was planted,
Sure.
to cover something up. So, amongst other things, I'll take that on to see if I can confirm that there was such an accident and that the people were killed and that she was in the back seat.
While you were doing that, I'd like to look up this Frank Phelps character. If we're going somewhere, we need to make sure he's taken care of before we leave. I think Parsnip, I might need your help on that.
Sure thing.
So it sounds like some people want to do some research. So for this, we can go ahead and do bureaucracy or law, depending on what exactly you're trying to get. So, for instance, to get the report for the automobile incident, that'll be a bureaucracy roll. Worst case, you can always take some bond points to try to lean on your friends to get it. All right, sounds good. So Prada is able to get that.
007.
Oh, wonderful. Nice.
Is that a good role for a spy?
It is. It's not a crit, but it's still a very good roll. Yeah. All right. Yes. And then, how did you want to go about looking into your thing, Pawn?
I think just initially a Google, because he ran the license plate last time, so he knows
Yeah.
home address. So just Google Maps the house, get an idea of like what this person's living like, and then just who the heck is Frank Phelps?
Yeah, go ahead and do a. Go ahead and actually do a human roll for this one. It's pretty good with that. As you're looking over, yeah. So it does look like he has an apartment in a high rise in LA. What did you get on the roll?
Okay, 16 out of 60.
So you will probably be quicker in that you'll get your information back faster than an automobile report, incident report. Yeah. So indeed, you find some stuff about this Frank Phelps. Notably, as I said about the car, the license plate registration goes back to only 2 years. It seems you're starting to look through it as you go a little deeper. He has it looks like almost all of his history only goes back 2 years. He's only got 2 years of credit history. His driving license is 2 years old. And you find out that this is a very well created fake identity. But there are holes, as I said. The address pans out, everything pans out, but nothing goes back farther than a few years that actually can be backed up by real documentation. So yeah, like I said, you do know that he has the apartment on the second floor of a building at the high rise in LA. And yeah, he recently got a flight to Ohio. He's mostly been in LA and Ohio due to recent records. So you've got his address, and you know that Frank Phelps seems to be a fake identity, a very well created one, but a fake identity.
Why the hell would someone drive from LA to Ohio?
And then Prada. So you find an automobile incident report. It seems like the police looked into it. The LAPD did. In fact, you're actually it's actually funny, as you're looking this up, you see a familiar name. The name Barkley. It is not a Sergeant Barkley this time, though. It's a Lieutenant Barkley, the same name that was the LAPD correspondent on the CDC letter you guys found. It seems that he was the lead detective, Lieutenant Barkley, on the case. And the traffic incident report simply notes, the name and address of those involved, which was Bo Johnson, the Sinclairs, the Sinclairs, and it describes what happened. It seems that Vehicle 1, who was Bo Johnson, was stopped at a light, and then Vehicle 2 failed to stop coming up behind it and underrode the trailer, unfortunately causing 2 instant fatalities as the two elder Sinclairs were decapitated. London suffered some broken bones and contusions from being in the back seat, but luckily, obviously is alive and was not harmed further than that.
How old was she?
She was a senior in high school.
Oh, okay.
This was back in 2007. Late teens. And interestingly, you find that it's tied to an open LAPD investigation that is still open. And you notice that there's some things that have sort of been left a little vague. And you assume that not everything was put into the report, or not everything was taken down at that time, and you don't know if it has been updated since. So you have to contact the LAPD for more information. But you do have the name, like I said, of those involved.
Okay, and confirmation. Are there any pictures of the car? I mean, I don't care if there are. It's just I want to see it.
Unfortunately, no, not in the police report.
And the police report is written by Barkley?
That's correct. Yeah, he signed off on it.
So there's a little chance here that Barkley might be involved, or at least possibly could be involved, since he's also involved in the other thing. But the other thing that he's involved with was actually having the CDC look into it. So
Do you
It
think
sounds more
Barkley
like-
is a friendly?
No, well, yeah, maybe of our side. Maybe he could be potentially.
If he isn't, then he's still covering it up and involved. Maybe we need to pay him a visit.
We might need to pay him a visit.
The first incident, the incident with the poor James Chen, the young boy, that one would have been just very much at the very end of the cowboy years.
Yeah.
So
What
if
was
he
his name?
could have been a friendly,
Chen?
but he would have been a cowboy friendly. Yes, James Chen.
Okay. Well, I
yeah.
mean, we should be able to. I mean, we could ask him, but I think that's actually probably ultimately a good idea. Yeah. He knows something more than what he's told other people.
But yeah, as these two are looking into that, is anybody else looking into anything else? I know we've talked about different research, but
Is it possible to try and maybe trace London's phone number to see if I could figure out where she
Yes.
is?
Yes, you can. Go ahead, and for that, I guess you could do a sig int roll. Probably would be that. I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I think sig int would be the best for that. To try to do a trace.
Parsnip is not having a very good day. Parsnip just rolled a 100.
Ooh, that is rather unfortunate. Actually, kind of makes sense. You unfortunately see that you determine that her phone is currently off. You try to find a last signal, but you can't quite pin it down more than you're pretty sure that she was that her most recent signal came from California, somewhere in the larger LA Valley area. But you don't really have any more than that. And like I said, it is unfortunately off. And so you got a signal from perhaps a few days ago, 1 or 2 days ago, but nothing recent. It seems to be off right now, which would mean that you can't quite track it, at least not without the NSA tech. It's literally like Google giving you a backdoor.
I would like to find out where Dr. Kleck's main office is and where he's at currently. And I want to try and accomplish that by maybe calling up the secretary at his LA clinic, posing as a new patient.
A young woman answers the phone. She says, this is Dr. Kleck's, psychiatric office. How can I help you?
Oh, is he in the office right now?
He's not, because he has a sleep study. He has sleep study last night and another one tonight, but he will be in a few hours. Are you a new patient? Were you interested in making an appointment?
Yeah, I've got this really, really bad sleep apnea, and I can't figure it out. I heard Dr. Kleck's one of the best.
Yes, he is.
So he's in LA for sure, right?
Yes. Oh, yeah. He's operating. He's seeing patients right now. At his LA offices here. I can get you in 2 months from now, maybe beforehand if we have a call out. And then she offers it. Do you want to go through and actually make an appointment, or are you just going to sort of hang up from here?
I'm just going to hang up here.
Okay. Yeah. So you hear 2 months. She hears the phone click and she shrugs, and then that's that. All right. And then was there anything else while everyone's researching?
I don't particularly relish this, but I'm going to try to find the sex tape and see if there's anything of actual importance to gain from it. No stone unturned, people.
Yep. That is. Yep. It's a good way to look at it. So just have this up. So, some searching easily finds you a link, a mirror to this video that has been attempted to be scrubbed, but is everywhere on the internet, from the way that tabloid and paparazzi work now. So it seems a number of them have been taken down, but they just keep getting uploaded. So it's quite notorious. It definitely exists on hard drives and mirror links here and there. You find one. It seems that the ones that have been publicly circulated, you're finding are unfortunately not of the best quality. It seems to be about 30 seconds of footage, and there's no audio. It seems to show someone who's very obviously London, naked and engaged in various sexual acts with a blurred out figure. And like I said, there's unfortunately no audio in this version. But you can go ahead and do an int roll, but this would need a crit to succeed on to identify who she is with.
Sure. Just straight int.
Yeah, just roll an int and don't only tell me if you get doubles.
All right, will do. Hatch is not a stellar roller. No, it's a 64. No. Success, but not crit.
So you can tell she is engaging in these acts with a man, larger man, at least 6 foot tall or more, buff build, but you can't really quite tell much more than that. And that's a lot of guys. There's a lot of guys that would fit that description. But you'd at least narrow it down to that. So you know that somebody of that type of build is who it's with. You'd have to potentially find another version, a more in-depth one, but like I said, a lot of these have been taken down. So
got it.
No way to get a face print of the male.
No, there's no point that
it's just no.
Yeah, it seems that it seems that he is the one filming. Either it's him filming or it's placed somewhere, so there aren't a lot of really good shots of his face and his upper half.
There he is.
Good to know.
There he is. There he is. There he is.
Looks like most of these clues point towards LA.
It seemed like that was her primary place of residence.
Well, she said that's Hollywood.
It's safe to assume she'll end up back there sometime in the near future if we can't catch her in the state of Ohio, at least.
Well, and it might work out best for us if she's not home, at least when we first arrive.
That's true. I say we just gather as much information as possible before we act.
Is there any chasing down we need to do further on this gentleman with the very fake ID? He's from LA too, though. So
yeah, this Frank
hopefully
Phelps.
all roads lead to LA.
Do you think it's
Hunch.
Dr. Kleck? No. Maybe.
It's an interesting idea. I had figured he was some kind of paparazzi following London around.
Could we get a picture? Maybe his clinic website has one, and we still have the contact for those 2 witnesses. Perhaps maybe just a quick, is this the person that you saw going into the clinic?
That's a great idea. Yeah.
So you want to confirm with the 2 witnesses that it was just Bell that was with her,
or
that,
Dr. Kleck?
Yeah, was it Dr. Kleck that entered the clinic under the guise of the other name?
Yeah, so you're able to let's see here. You are able to send a message out, and wow, it's Lucy answers you within minutes. She responds, no, that's not who she saw. Too old and a little too old and formal, I suppose, is how she would put it. Fancy for the guy she saw. I guess, there was mention of trying to get an interview with London. Like I said, unfortunately, her phone that you have the number for seems to be off. But you do see, from a quick search, her sort of public relation agency is the Blaze of Glory agency, which is based out of Chicago. So you could try contacting them to get a hold of her, but you'd be going through an agency, through a person, through it. Yeah. So.
I wonder if there's a way for us to do any kind of research to figure out if Jess Bell has any connections here in Ohio.
I mean, if we could just look him up. Yeah.
I mean, you probably killed his dad.
Good. Although I sure hope he never learned any of those spells.
I think that we need to be thorough. I think that we should look into the people that died at the clinic and see if we can find any accidental connections. We can look into this. What was his name? James Chen. See if there's any weird connection. Maybe she's getting rid of enemies, or maybe she's getting rid of Farnsworth enemies or Bell enemies. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. Like, why attack that phlebotomist otherwise?
Right. You said it yourselves. It seems so bizarrely random. Maybe
We have a
Way
list
out to
of
Ohio to do
victims.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
So we can each take a couple, or two of us can.
Well, it's just research one person could do. You guys
Yeah.
sound like you're going to be busy on a bunch of other stuff. I'll see what I can find.
I'll be honest, my having me research is not going to be incredibly helpful.
Your skills are better used elsewhere, Pawn.
Yes.
Left his
My
library
guess
card
is
at
all of our
home.
leads are going to go back to LA. That sounds. I think also we all want to go to LA because, the beach,
Sunny weather.
sunny weather. And it's not Cleveland.
That's true.
Well, I hear the smog is pretty bad in LA.
I will, if we're researching, I'd like to see if there is somewhere we could, well, Parsnip's probably the man for this. I think adoption records are typically sealed, but she knew who her birth parents were, which means there is a record somewhere out there of who those people are.
Maybe the father was the same person you killed at that farm.
I'd like to know though, and I think Parsnip,
Yeah.
it might take a little bit of your magic rather than just hitting the books.
Certainly try.
Did we ever get confirmation about whether other agents cleaned up the rest of that group?
We don't know. We need to.
Oh, the Bell group, the farm.
Right.
Yeah, whatever happened, was it on the news?
It was
ACEL
not.
doesn't like to be. ACEL does
So,
not
yeah.
like to be.
If it was not on the
Okay.
news, then someone probably cleaned that up.
I would hope so then, yes.
But here's a theory. What if the group that cleaned it up was the group that was trying to clean us up from the focus group?
I don't want to cross their path if that is
Yeah.
the case. So
That's a good point. Whoever this
All-
is was not some rancher. That
All
was
we can
well done. I'm
all
sorry,
we can
go
do
ahead.
is trust ACEL. And if ACEL is in on the conspiracy, then we're all dead anyway.
Yeah,
But
speaking of
I don't think
ACEL,
that's the case.
I'm going to try and see if there's any green boxes in LA.
Oh, there's got to be.
There are
at large,
ones that
yeah.
you know of. Unfortunately, no. You could try and enlist, the agency for help there, but who knows how they'll
Yeah.
respond to that. They've
I
already
imagine
given you
if
one
we're-
green box, but
Well, I imagine if we're going to LA and we tell them we have to go to LA, then they'll
Mhm.
tell us where the green. And we just ask
Yeah.
them, where's the nearest green box? Does anybody need to stay here? We've only got one computer. Maybe I'll go buy a computer and bring it here, and we'll have two computers.
sure. Yeah, you can easily get a laptop. Then you all have phones. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll
Oh,
have
that's true.
Parsnip look that
I
over.
forget you youngins have these computer things in your hand.
I think
Hate
unless
reading.
Parsnips turns up some names for birth parents that are worth pursuing, I think honestly, it's LA, right? So
Right.
So you continue your research. A few more hours go by. It's kind of late into the night now, sort of, closer to midnight. Prada, you were able to look through, and you can't seem to find any clear connection between James Chen and any of the victims of the quick lab, phlebotomy lab incident. However, it is worth noting that yes, if you look at pictures sort of your recollection of one and the pictures of the other, it looks eerily similar. The way the exploded body
The
parts
explosion,
looked.
yeah.
Like the body exploded, and it's notable that Pawn and Paragon can tell you that doesn't look like somebody doesn't look like you threw an explosive and there was a body there. That looks like the body itself exploded, it came from inside. And like I said, there's no connection, but you do find that James Chen's parents are two very notable doctors, and so you have their names as well.
Didn't London claim at the time that she saw James Chin earlier in the day, but she didn't indicate that she had slept with him.
Her psychiatrist records, she told her psychiatrist at least that she killed him through sex.
Yeah, the official, and you do have the police from the police records from the original case with the CDC in Barkley's first case. She did, she said, oh yes, she saw him earlier. She hung out, the police didn't make her say anything, but the two teenagers hanging out in a teenager's room that they made their assumptions. But she said that she left and he was alive when she left. And that was the official statement, and that they seem to accept that.
Okay.
Because again, Barclay, remarks that whatever happened to that boy, I don't think London did it to him.
Just to be thorough, just looking at the website for the Farnsworth farm, is that just closed until further notice?
It is no longer on the web.
Okay.
It has been scrubbed.
It's professional.
Hopefully that's our professional.
And Parsnip, you look in. Unfortunately, there's no adoption agency that has any records for London Sinclair's adoption. However, there is a record of a Los Angeles courthouse adoption records on their microfilm. It seems that the Sinclairs were not represented by an attorney, but simply referred to a private adoption of an unnamed female infant. Which means that this would indicate that it was a privately arranged adoption with the consent of the known parents. There is a consent to adoption on file, but it is sealed. So that would require some law enforcement getting that unsealed and having a reason for it. So some sort of bureaucracy role or pressing on a bond.
I'm sorry, this game is set in modern times, right?
That is correct, yes.
I was just going to say,
yeah.
if we had
slightly altered, or yeah.
If we had grabbed her blood sample that she gave, we could have run a DNA analysis.
We have the bit of the needle. We pulled it out of the nurse's eye.
But it would be all mixed up and contaminated with...
Yeah, much of it would.
But if we could actually do a DNA, we could find out where she came from, who she's related to, and everything.
I'm kind of hoping that that'll be made easy because we'll have her body on hand.
Well, that's true. But that's an important piece of even if we have eliminated her, it would lead us right back to witch doctors and everybody who's involved.
Agreed.
Yeah, if we'd have thought about it, we'd have just picked up her vial that was laying there.
It's true.
Think about it.
Of course, it might have been smashed on the floor by the time we got
that's
there.
true too.
Yeah.
All right. I can't find anything, any connections between any of these people. I was hoping we'd find out they all belong to,
So LA?
Yeah.
Looking at this logistically, we would have to do everything with on-site procural. I don't think our guns are going to go on the plane unless we want to take one big road trip, but that would take too much time.
No, it's probably time we toss all of our shit and get new stuff when we get there.
Which is more of a reason to get a green box.
I suppose I will mention that the Paragon and Pawn would know you could get some weapons brought over if you use your official credentials. And it is noted that you can actually take handguns as long as you check them and not carry them on, and you make sure that they are not loaded. And yeah, I think that's it. They just have to be not loaded and no ammunition with you. You cannot bring any ammo, but you can bring your pistols if you want to do that.
Yeah, but then if they're checked, then they're going to be in the system. And if that's found, if the ballistics are found in a crime scene, that's going to be on us.
Well, none of these are our weapons. They're the weapons we have. They're all throwaway. I mean, we don't want to throw them away because criminals could get a hold of them, but they're not registered. Yeah. As long as we have fake licenses that show that we own them. Then, yeah. Mysterious handler is right.
But it is important to note that rifles and shotguns will have to be reobtained. But again, you could contact your handler with B-Cell and get the local green box that hopefully has some weapons.
All right.
Well, for my particular lead that I'm interested in, a couple days is not the end of the world. He's already driving. If anything, he gets there half a day before we do.
We shouldn't go all together anyway.
Right.
Going all together is jeopardizes. If they blow up the plane, then we all go with it, and so does all the evidence. Are you suggesting upon driving?
I think so. It's only about 35 hours.
No, it's not that much.
From Cleveland to LA.
Hours?
That's what they say.
Maybe.
It's a classic saying.
I'll go with you. A couple can take an airplane, and I don't know, take a bus or take a different airplane. Whoever gets there first sets it all up.
Take the train. I feel like there's a little bit less security concern that way. At least getting
train is slower than a car.
It might take like 4 days or a week or more.
You're right. Well, so will a bus.
I'm gonna go with pawn. I have weapons I want to bring.
I'll fly. I just have a pistol. What about you, Parsnip?
I'm gonna fly too, but I'm gonna give Pawn my very special squirrel gun to bring with him.
Oh yeah, you could have the guns in Pawn's vehicle. Just don't get pulled over.
I drive the speed limit.
Since I don't have anything particularly nefariously planned for the travel, we can go ahead and do a little bit of a sort of montage or just sort of speed this up for sake of time. So it sounds like everyone's going to be traveling. A few people will be making their way first and get sort of there ahead. The others will be spending a little more time traveling, but that might give them some more time to research. So those of you who are going to be arriving first, what do you want to do sort of to assist, sort of get ready for the other agents and research while you're there on the ground? And then who wants to research things from travel and what? So we'll just go around. I guess we can just sort of go around. Prada, do you have anything in particular that you wanted to look into?
I'm going to purchase a quick new laptop from Best Buy.
Yep.
Inexpensive, just as long as I can connect to the internet while we're driving. Pawn's driving, so he'll drive part of the way. I'll drive the other, but we can still sit there, research.
Awesome. Yeah. So, is there anything you wanted to look into during the ride?
Yeah. You said that Chen's family were doctors.
Yes.
That
Yes.
seems interesting. So I'll look into them, the Chen family.
It is Doctors Robert and Emily Chen. They no longer live at that house in California, in LA, that it happened at, the initial incident.
Right.
But it does seem that they still own property in California, just outside LA.
Are they medical doctors?
They are indeed. Yes, it looks like. Yes. One of them is a plastic surgeon.
In California, yeah.
Yeah. I believe one of them is a orthopedic surgeon, and then the other is a like I said, yes, that does
doctor in a face. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That makes total sense for California.
Yeah.
All right, so that's basically what I find out, I guess, on the way.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, it seems that since the incident, they have been, they haven't really been in the news or anything like that. Even in the medical spheres, they sort of keep to themselves. They do good work, but nothing, they're not not overly
was-
talkative or getting out there or anything like that.
I was just waiting to see if you said genetic researchers. I would have been like, aha!
Right? Yeah. Like, no, that's Beatrice. No, anyway, you already killed her. All right. Cool. Well, if you think of anything, feel free to let me know. Let us know in the chat. Since you don't have any time.
I do
And
have
I also
one thing. Yeah,
Oh.
Agent Pawn is going to have some headphones in when he's not driving, and he is watching London Falling.
Yeah.
Back episodes as he's trying to kind of get like a layout of her place, known people that she knows. He's kind of getting into it a little bit by the end of it.
Give me a luck roll.
Survey says 100.
Oof.
That's lucky, right?
That's a kind of luck, an unluck kind of luck. Yeah, I mean, you watch through, nothing particularly kind of jumps out at you. It does seem to corroborate, like what you said, there's a lot of drug and alcohol abuse, even to the point where there's some times where it's like, you're kind of confused, because if what London is claiming or what the show is claiming, it's, as Patch has mentioned earlier, it's more than somebody should be able to imbibe safely. Like, it's like there's one episode where it kind of opens up and it's like, it's the makeup artist who's kind of her mother figure. And she's like, you drank 2 whole bottles of scotch at lunch. And it's kind of like this fun sort of gag at the beginning, but you're like, that's not what she did. What?
That would kill you.
That would kill a regular person. That is correct. And so, either they are purposefully overhyping it for the show to the point of oddness, or, something weird is going on. But yeah, so you do kind of get sort of the idea. You learn a little more about, London. And I guess, you have a little more insight into her as if you wanted to try to do some sort of human or psychology stuff later, this would help provide a little basis for that.
And he would, Jess was featured,
yes,
quote unquote, in that show as well. Okay. So he knows what he looks like.
Yeah. And yeah, indeed, he's in that show, he's kind of her bodyguard and cousin, sort of like, like I said, a bodyguard or assistant type, kind of her muscle, to put it bluntly. But yeah. Awesome. Is there anything else before I jump to Paragon? All right. So yeah, Paragon, during the trip, when you cycle out for when you're not the one driving, what would you like to research?
So I was going to watch London Falling, but I drew the longer stick.
Okay.
And instead, I'm going to focus on following that cleanup crew, which means going back to our past haunts, like the phlebotomy lab, see if that's been scrubbed, because I know that the FBI and the CDC were investigating that. Has that been, what's happened there? Yes.
So I believe it has been, the remains of the facility have been quarantined. So there isn't an official quarantine going on. And apparently the like I said, the FBI, CDC, and Homeland Security are looking into it. And seems to be above board there. It doesn't seem to be anything nefarious that you can tell. And then what did you want to look into as far as the other lab, like with the crew
focus group?
Yeah.
Any articles on that? Has that been scrubbed as well? Or
yeah, I mean, it seems like either it didn't really make the news, or that has been also scrubbed. There doesn't seem to be anything, no notes of there being no break-in or shots fired or anything like that, or any violent incident in the report. You do notice, however, though, that the lab, or sorry, not the lab, the research center that that Dr. Kleck ran there with the company. It seems that property has been actually sold. It has been sold to Wuxi Pharmaceutical Company. Wuxi Pharma Company. Wuxi Pharmaceuticals. It seems they have very recently bought the building.
Seems like a shell, but I'm gonna look into it.
It very much does. And so let me pull that up for you. Yes. So, Wuxi Pharmaceuticals. Yeah. So it seems that you look them up. They seem to have a sales representative named Jen Jenkins. and she's noteworthy because she seems to be their only public face. There isn't a lot of people associated with her or with them. It's just her. It's just Jen Jenkins. And it seems like, she has an office in LA and an email address. But other than that, Wuxi Pharmaceutical apparently is a pharmaceutical corporation. But as you've already sort of picked up on, it seems to be kind of a front or shell company of some sort. They apparently manufacture small batch, high price, usually biological based drugs for special purposes, often experimental. They do stuff with, they apparently do R&D with the government, but a lot of that is not made public or, could be, actually somebody under a different name, or like I said, it's just not something the public is allowed to have access to. You do find the contact information for Ms. Jenkins, sort of like the sales and business email kind of thing. Other than that, it seems, there isn't a lot for them. They have some property in LA and now recently Ohio. But yeah, they don't seem to have a lot on them that is public.
Okay. They're good at what they do.
Indeed. Yes. So yeah. So you have the information for Jen Jenkins. And tell you what, why don't you also do a let's see, what do you have for this, Paragon? Do a bureaucracy roll.
And 90.
Okay. Well, hey, it wasn't another 100, but yeah. It seems that they're, you find they're also involved, like I said, in some research and development things. Like I said, it sounds like they're involved with some government type stuff that they don't keep public, but it seems like they've also given some grants out and sort of, put money into research that is done privately or through public universities. So it's not just with the government, it seems. All right, and now to our two that have made their way. You have to go through the the annoyingness of the flight, and then the LAX, and how chaotic it can be there. But you're able to get through. Get your stuff, and get yourself sort of situated. Did you want to get a sort of set up a motel or hotel here, or what were you thinking for lodging and such?
Middle of the road, safe neighborhood that we don't have to worry about, but nothing extravagant.
Yeah,
I'll get rooms, make sure there's rooms for everyone close together.
Yeah, like a holiday suites, or you want to do like an Airbnb. Something like that.
One of them should be at least an Airbnb though. That's actually a really good idea. Then we have the whole place to ourselves. I like that.
So Airbnb then, Parson?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, so you're able to get a decent Airbnb in a suburb. It's not as clean as you would like for the cleaning fee that they charge, but it's livable, very, very livable. And it's not too hard to afford. Yeah. So what would you all like to do in sort of research and preparation as boots on the ground before the others arrive?
I want to keep tabs on London. If follow her socials, follow the hashtag if anyone's tagging her anywhere. And if not, I'd like to at least try to figure out where she lives. I know sometimes that's not difficult to find out, because sometimes, paparazzi are pointing, look how much they spent on this $5 million mansion over here. But I'd like to find out where she lives. And
sometimes it's on a bus tour.
Sometimes it is, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're able to find that it seems that she had a rather nice house in LA as part of when she was filming London Falling, but has since sold that property. It does seem like she does own some property in LA, but it seems that when you go through her posts, especially by looking at her, Fang, her cat's Instagram, and just seeing the backgrounds and stuff, it seems that she does live in different places. And so she's often on the move. And, you see a lot of different interiors and locations with her and her cat, and, with the photos that she's taken. Paparazzi catches her, all over. As we've mentioned before, She's notably seen a lot in LA and Texas, sometimes in Ohio, as was seen, but usually she's caught somewhere in LA or California rather, and sometimes she goes over to Texas for rehab or for some other reason, for some show. She's done some work out in Texas. Looks like she's maybe done one or two things like out in Alabama. Hasn't really gone much further for location-based stuff.
I can't find like an LA. Can I find an LA address for the property she owns?
You do, but it is, yeah. I mean, so yeah, you find like she has a condo. It doesn't look like she has been there very recently, from her like records. But,
at least good to have.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And yes, let me see. Yeah, and strangely, her social media has been very dead. It seems that you think maybe some of this stuff is starting to spook her to the point that she's not posting particularly right now. Either that or she can't post for some reason.
The only other thing I can think of is, so I know that, are there any other deaths in tied to London Sinclair? We have the boyfriend, the parents, the mother figure from the reality show. Are there any other deaths that are kind of like, well, she was there, she knew that person, something like that? I know that would take a lot of time to kind of connect the dots. So, at least start that chain of thought.
You don't find any further,
Okay.
But you kind of like lay it out, and it kind of reiterates what some people have spoken before, that a lot of people seem to die around London Sinclair. I mean, her parents were in a car crash when she was very early age. Then her boyfriend died in a strange accident. Following that, her mother figure on her show died. She goes to a quick lab, and the guy after her dies. You found out why that happened. But so it does, that one, it seemed like she had done on purpose. But a lot of these, whether accidents or wrong place at the wrong time, or she did it on purpose, it seems like there is either death she's causing or just death around her that she might not even cause herself directly.
Okay.
All right, Parsnip.
I would like to see if Jess Bell has a residence somewhere in Los Angeles.
No, it doesn't seem that. Yeah, he does not have any property.
Okay.
Seems he doesn't seem to own any property in his name recently at all.
It's worth a shot. Can't really think of anything else to do other than, just kind of figure out some of the logistics around where Frank Phelps lives. Is there anything, like if we wanted to infiltrate secretly, would we run into any issues? Things like that.
So you kind of like case over his apartment building. And it looks like, it's on the second floor of one of these high-rise buildings. And it does have a lobby with a doorman and a security camera. But other than that, it doesn't seem to be super secure. So, there is security systems. There is a doorman. So you'd need a legitimate excuse to try to get in there, or you'd have to be careful if you wanted to break in.
Okay. Did you tell us where he worked, or no?
It seems that he doesn't. That he seems to be some sort of a private investigator.
Okay.
He doesn't have any official. He's not employed by anyone.
Oh! Now I remember there was something I was wanting to do. Dr. Kleck.
Yes.
Thinking back on something that Prada said about follow the money, I want to see if there's any money. Has Dr. Kleck received any donations from anywhere? Investments, things like that. Trying to find if there's like a money connection between this well, I probably don't know about the pharmaceutical company just yet, but
So yes, it seems that Dr. Kleck has a number of celebrity sort of patients. It seems that he doesn't seem to be getting, at least not publicly, any donations or funds from any organizations or anything like that. He's been, from your notes that you found before, he's been seeing London for a long time. And so he's gotten quite a lot of funding from her. And so it seems that it's mostly, celebrity clients that he gets a lot of his money from. He also, it seems like he did inherit some inheritance from his mentor, actually. Whose name I could tell you if I pull up the origin of the box you found. Thank you, Niles Garmel. Thank you. Dr. Niles Garmel. It seems that Dr. Garmel was very much very much invested in his work. He didn't really have a whole lot of friends or family, no direct family. So it seems that he actually gave a portion of his estate to Dr. Kleck. So it seems like Dr. Kleck wasn't, in a bad position financially at all. So no seedy contributions, that seem to be there as far as like paper trail. Is there anything else you wanted to look into, Parsnip, before the others, you all meet back up together?
I can't think of anything. I think that's all I've got at the moment.
All right. Yeah, so you all sort of have set that up. Oh, did you want to? No, yeah, because they handled that. Cool. Yeah. So a few days go by. You do your research. Again, seems that things are quiet on the London front as far as social media and posts. You look, you don't see anything in the news that sort of jumps out at you as far as the recent events, other than you've already seen. And you get things set up, and then the other three agents arrive in town. And you're able to send them over the information, and you all can sort of meet back up at your little Airbnb.
How was the drive?
Uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It is hot.
Yeah.
Showers through there.
Make sure this place is clean.
Yeah, absolutely. We've been here for 2 days.
There's a whole bunch of this that just something seems weird about it. What does Miss London hope to gain? If she's after power, fame, and riches, that's what she's doing. Why murder people?
After watching the show, I think I can agree with Dr. Kleck. She's delusional. She's a delusional psychotic. She is medicating herself. Yeah.
The reports from since she was a child indicate that she has some serious mental issues. I think I don't know. I think I'm with you, Pawn. I just think something's wrong, and the elevator didn't go all the way to the top or something.
I do agree. There's something though that's.
I couldn't find any real connections between any of the people that she's killed, or them and anything else that's going on. We've got solid connections between her and the Farnsworths.
Maybe it was originally accidents. Some of the first ones. Maybe they were originally accidents, and then she realized what she could do, and the rest of them have been more like she's testing this out.
Yeah. Now that we're in LA, we've got a bunch of leads. There's Dr. Phelps, Dr. Kleck, Mr. Phelps, Dr. Kleck, Barkley, and Parsnip. Could you run follow the money for Wuxia Pharma. That's something I found out.
Yeah, I can look into that. I tried to investigate if there was any money flowing to or from Kleck, but I couldn't find anything about that. And a thought just occurred to me as I was listening to you guys. What if Kleck's behind all this? What if he's been manipulating her like some kind of Stockholm syndrome or something?
How
And
long
He tried
has
to
he been-
manipulate us into
How long
opening the
has he
box.
been involved with her? Do you know?
I think a while,
Since
like
she was a child, I think.
years.
Let me see. We have the record. Just need to-
Okay,
So-
I just something because of what you just said, something crossed my
94.
mind that I hadn't considered before. But hear me out. What if this is all part of the Farnsworth genetic bizarre thing going on, and it's not her? What if somebody ends coming in immediately afterwards and killing somehow the person who she's been with to clean up they want viable Farnsworth babies.
And that makes
didn't you
her
see a man go in there? Wasn't there a man? Was that who was wandering around the halls?
yeah, that's Mr. Phelps or Frank Phelps, I guess. Yes.
What if he caused this?
We know she switched the needles though. If
We
anything,
saw her do it.
I believe so. Didn't we see video of yeah.
Yeah, there was video of that.
Yes, we did see video.
Although I
Right,
don't
maybe.
disagree, is that could be her declaring war on whatever other faction if they're trying to manipulate her. This could be her way of striking out against them.
You know, a thought just occurred to me. This James Farnsworth fella, he's been going around impregnating various women for
Lots of
whatever
them.
reason. Maybe the woman that he's really been trying to find is London Sinclair this whole time. That he's got to find this particular woman
Maybe.
with the right genetic makeup
Hmm.
to create. God
I
knows
do
what.
think though that he's been making
Yeah.
babies, because all of the people in the clan that were they were all genetically related to him. Right? They were all probably babies that he made. They were all his children.
Pawn got a confirmed kill on him. So
Yeah. So he ain't making no more babies, but assuming that he's the only one, he might not be. There might be a whole bunch of them. Maybe they're trying to take over the world bit by bit, and eventually everybody will be related to them. And then, I just can't figure out what her role in this whole thing. 2 people die. And we saw her murder this person by using that needle.
She had to have some idea of what would happen.
She knew what would happen. Yeah.
Yeah, she's not completely innocent, but that doesn't mean she's guilty of everything. The bodyguard may have some hand in it too, some guiding hand of James before he got beat to death.
She also showed up out of nowhere. Oh, wait, we were other characters. I don't know if I actually know that for sure, but she did show up out of nowhere. If it was to murder somebody.
Did we know, was she on the books for an appointment that day? Do we know?
Would we have looked at the appointment book?
Yeah, it seemed that she did have an appointment.
Okay. So if that's actually answers another question. If she had an appointment, she couldn't have possibly known that anybody in particular would be there. So it
Point.
couldn't have been a premeditated murder. So why did she do it? Unless,
She
like
had-
you say, she's just insane.
She knew that it would explode to some level, but right, why there in Ohio. Why right then?
And why leave a trail? Why not do it at some free clinic where nobody knows who you are and
Was
no
it-
record exists?
Do you think it has to do with? I feel like this is no, never mind.
We have.
You
to
don't
get
think
a
it has
hold of
something to
her,
do with
right?
like attracting people like us? Someone burns down the family farm. It goes swept under the rug, which means like something weird's going on. Does she make a public attempt to draw out?
Well, what's the axiom say? Perfect paranoia is perfect preparedness, or something like that. I mean, it's true. We should
One
consider
issue.
that we're being led into a trap.
Right.
Then why wasn't that cleanup crew sent to the phlebotomy lab if they were sent to they were sent to the focus group? Doesn't fit.
Maybe they want us in particular. We were directly responsible.
Well, watch your back out there on the mean streets of LA, I guess.
Yep. So who wants to take what lead?
What leads are there to dig into? The clinic that the clinic you were researching, Paragon, here.
Yeah, the Wuxia Pharma. I
Her
wanted
home.
parts. Yeah.
But
Barkley,
there,
Right.
Phelps.
Phelps. Yep.
right?
I remember something. I was going to see if I could get my people to see if I could set up an interview with Miss London.
Yeah, her phone's been off though. So
Could take months.
But that agency, the Blaze of Glory, you might
could
be able
contact
to
them.
contact them. They might have the bodyguard's phone. Maybe his is on.
Is the phone off or is she just not answering it? I mean, what
Well, it would
celebrity
be-
would answer a
It's
number they
off.
don't recognize on their
It would be
personal phone?
wireless. It would be odd if she was actually off, because she'd want to have calls from her agent or movie deals or drug
Well,
dealers
for
or whatever.
for a person that works in Hollywood, she sure doesn't hang around here very often. Seems like she's all over the place.
Let me see if I can set that up. I'll set it up as Hades Vandermeer. I'll say it's all about her style of dress.
Why don't we try to interview that boy's parents or people that know her that would tell, like, what was she like? We don't know, aside from the image she presents to the public, what kind of person she is.
I think the Chen family still lives here. Is
I
it
mean, we'd
Chen
have to have a
or
decent reason
Chang?
to contact them in the first place, but
I didn't write it
Chin,
down.
I believe.
Yeah.
Chen. Okay.
and what's our new cover? Just because we're in a new location. We'll make it up as we go. Oh.
Yeah, we could do that.
We're certainly not official anything right now.
Mhm.
There's no case for any of this. Maybe if we go to Barkley, we can loop into that cold case somehow, but that
So
seems like a
just
stretch.
standard new identities then. I'm gonna go see if I can set up find a green box. I'm gonna call up A-Cell if
Yeah.
anyone's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, you want to call up the B cell, the number you have for your handler,
B-Cell. Yep.
or the Boris.
person we think might be a friendly
I'm
guy who was
Um,
on all of these cases.
So yeah, it rings.
I'll
Yeah,
confirm. I'll confirm.
yeah Prada's going to call.
No, I'm calling my editor at Ion Art Journal
And I'll call Boris.
to see if
Okay.
I can set up a. Hello, Bobby darling.
Yes, what can I do for you? And so you want them to contact Blaze of Glory to see about setting up an interview with
Have our
London
people
about
contact your people.
about her
We'll
style.
do lunch. We'll do lunch.
Sure.
Oh, LA.
All right, and then so that goes through. So they'll see what they say, and then Paragon. Yeah, so you call. It rings a few times. We'll say 4 times this time, and then there's the answer. Hello.
Boris, the opera has brought us to greener pastures in LA.
Oh, okay.
I was
Makes
wondering
sense.
if there was a green box around.
Uh, Fiona. Yeah, hold on. Yeah. Looks like we've got there's one just a little bit outside LA. Seems to the north. Yeah, just north of LA. It is a old garage, an auto garage.
Okay. And could you verify the identity of a friendly, William Barkley, I believe?
Barkley.
Lieutenant.
I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you here. Friendly records are not the best thing.
Right.
Do you know when they were a friendly, or when they
In the cowboy era?
Yeah, we don't really have a lot of records there for you. That was kind of on purpose. So I unfortunately, you'd have to talk to him, and I don't know if he's going to want to necessarily open up about that kind of thing, but that would be your best bet. Because unfortunately, we do not have records for that kind of thing. He gives you the location. This auto garage, green box, a little bit north of LA.
Anything else, guys? Okay. Well, that's about it, Boris.
All right. Well,
take care of yourself.
Yeah, you too. Keep us in the loop.
Mm-hmm.
I got my people looking into seeing if they could set up an interview. I mean, it's a little scary. I'd be sitting there right in front of her. She could reach out and scratch me, and I could blow up.
One thing, she might know your face.
Why?
From the focus group. If it is all connected, you're on video.
She might know
at
it
the
because
focus
I am Hades Vandermeer.
That's true. But you should take precautions when you're in there with her. Have either me or Pawn there to assist.
Maybe don't, let her spit on you or something.
Well, that's what the game is all about, isn't it? It's a life or death. It's dangerous.
I got a screen box though.
Great.
If she kills me, I'd like somebody to at least shoot her and get a blood sample.
More like bludgeon.
Yeah. I'll try and do it before you die.
And it is there's a little bit of time passes, and then you actually get a call, Prada, your cell phone.
This is Hades Vandermeer. What can I do for you?
Yeah, this is Jess Bell. Calling. Seems that you wanted to set up an interview or something with London Sinclair.
Oh yes, I'm. My name is Hades Vandermeer. I'm with Eye on Art Journal. We'd like to do a fashion piece on her.
Fashion piece.
Well, yes, she dresses rather nicely, and she's got sort of a flair to her. That's all it really is. Just a short interview and some photographs, and we'll put it in our magazine.
I got to be honest. She's in the middle of some stuff right now, some real life things. Could we schedule for maybe a few weeks out?
Well, that would be fine. The sooner we get it done, the sooner we could put her in the. We could come out to her place if that would make it just as convenient. It would just be me and a photographer.
It's better if we went to a studio or something. But yeah, unfortunately, I can't guarantee anything until 2 weeks from now. But I could see about setting something up there.
Well, let's do that then.
But yeah, I mean, I'm sure she would enjoy, getting her stuff out there. People appreciate her fashion, whatever that is. But
well, with her recent show, she certainly needs some PR assistance, and I think that she's a sweet young girl, and she doesn't deserve any more negative press. Let's give her some positive press. You know how many other stars have started their careers and had a lot of difficulties? You know, they always come out of it. Look at Robert Downey Jr. and he's quite successful now. It's all part of the Hollywood scheme.
Yeah. All right. Well, as I said, I'll give you a call in about a week or two, and we'll get that set up then.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Have a good one.
Well, it's a couple of weeks, maybe. But then again, she might tell London, and London might go, "Oh, I want to do it now." We'll see how it goes.
Can I have that phone number that called you?
Oh, sure.
And I want to see if I
can
can trace that number back to its location.
She said her name was Jen Jacobs. Jen Jacobs, is that right? Yeah.
Or was that Jess Bell that called him?
Yeah.
I knew it was Jay's. I just looked down at my.
Yeah. So it is. Yeah. Jen Jenkins is the person with that is the person with
the pharmaceutical.
Yeah, that is the sales representative for Wuxi. Yeah. Yeah. Jess Bell is who called.
I didn't even realize that. What the hell is she calling me for?
No, that was Jess Bell that called you.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
All
Yeah.
Right. I'm confused. It's all the J's.
Yes. Apparently, the scenario writer is just like J's everywhere.
I'm glad Parsnip said that. You said Jess Bell isn't the bodyguard called?
I think that's who called him.
Jess Bell.
Yes,
wait,
that'd be correct.
Who called me?
Jess Bell.
Yeah.
Jess Bell, the bodyguard.
Parsnip,
called
you are good ear.
Yeah, I want to trace that phone number to see if I can find its location.
Yeah. Give me another second roll.
Come on. Yes, finally, 34 out of 60. Yes, it's a pass.
Yeah, it looks like you feel like he's currently in the San Francisco area, but he's on the move. They've been sort of moving around. His records show movement around Southern California lately.
Is there a way that I could hook up a tracking where I know where he is? Like I pull up a map and there's a dot and I know.
You are a Delta Green agent.
I'm excited.
You'd be able to tell where he's been, but as far as current, you could only kind of triangulate what tower he's currently pinging off of.
Okay. Well, that's something.
Right now he's most recently been around the San Francisco tower. So
okay. So I will tell the group. So it looks like he's in San Francisco at the moment. So he's not in Los Angeles.
Which means I would assume she is not as well.
Right.
I'm kind of thinking
he's probably driving her.
Yeah.
Did his phone go out to Cleveland?
It did as well.
Yeah.
So they're about 8 hours north.
Okay.
But we have stuff to look up in LA anyway.
Yeah, I need to go stake out Frank Phelps' apartment.
I'll go with Pawn. You shouldn't go alone.
I'm gonna check out the green box. It's about an
I'll
hour
go to
north.
the green box with you. Yeah. Let's see what equipment we have.
Stay behind and
I'm sorry.
I was going to stay behind and do some research on the pharmaceutical company, see if I could trace their finances.
Okay.
I wanted to see if the green box, did it sound like the green box was a fresh one or something?
No, it's an old garage. Yep.
Be careful of what you find there.
Well, that's why I have you.
No. Remember, there are previous sock monkeys from other groups.
That damn thing better not have followed us there. That's for sure.
Look, if you see a talking lamb chop, get it out of there.
We're talking lamp. Or anything talking.
Anything talking stays in there.
Or any boxes that need, or any puzzles that need solving, or any crossword puzzles that spell out the future.
So, you head up to the green box, and not as rife with things as the first one, but there is a couple interesting things. It is like I said, a little storage garage. You go type in the keypad and open it up, and it seems that there's a red couch, a number of crates, and some other interesting things. You notice that there is a Texas state flag which hangs upon one of the walls, and the floor is littered by many cigarette butts, flattened by footsteps. It's almost like somebody paced and chain smoked in here for hours. There's also a small leather satchel containing 4 12-gauge shotgun shells and some brass knuckle dusters, and a Lafranc M16K 5.56 assault rifle with burst capacity, and there's some blood and detritus on the forend and muzzle.
I think those brass knuckles are going to be useful for
Make sure that
There-
nothing's labeled. Like, don't use these brass knuckles.
Yeah. This is also a good point to rally at in case something gets compromised. We can all meet back up here.
Yes.
How defensible does the area seem, just looking around?
It's not bad. It's a garage, so you can kind of back up into the garage and just sort of be, it's kind of like a little defendable point there. It's a metal building, or it's it's a metal door, well-constructed building, industrial. There's some other, garages and businesses around, but there's not a very populated area. It's kind of north of LA a little bit. So it would be, a decent place to defend. There's alleyways along either side and another row of businesses on the other side of the street.
Is there a way up onto the roof?
What?
Is there a way up onto the roof?
No, there's no. It's just a one story, one room garage building that this is.
All right. Well, we can put some stuff here when we need
All right, excellent. I'm going to take the assault rifle. So
Yeah, you notice it actually
Badass weapon.
It still has a serial number and such on it.
Okay. On my own time, I'll probably look that up or something.
Yeah, I guess just let me know if when you want to look that up.
Yeah, when I get back to the Airbnb.
Yeah, and so while
Or in
you're
the car ride,
back-
actually.
Oh,
If
yeah,
you don't mind driving, Prada.
Sure. So
You're
you're heading back
bringing the
to
assault rifle back to our apartment, our Airbnb.
I mean, it's more useful an hour in the city than an hour out of the city. Also, taking the brass knuckles.
They're illegal.
Yep.
And so Parsnip, you said you wanted to look into, while they were doing that, look into the Wuxi Pharmaceuticals and their backing.
Yes.
So you can go ahead and do, this could be either accounting or computer science.
Okay.
I assume you don't mind hacking into, dabbling in places you're not supposed to be.
That's fine.
Okay, cool. Then yeah, go ahead and you can go ahead and use computer science.
Okay, so that is 32 out of 60.
Yeah, so it takes you a little bit. So it's probably, just a little bit before the others return. You finally feel like you've gotten onto something. You trace it back. It seems like they are some sort of front, company, sort of corporation. And it seems that as you track it all the way back, through over the, oversee accounts and back, it seems that they are primarily funded and owned by two groups. It seems like the original business had some owners. They are very reclusive and they're not really quite listed. In fact, it is only through hacking your way sort of through that you find out that the owners are actually actually Mr. or Dr. Dr. and Dr. Chen, James Chen's parents, who are actually the sort of the owners that it's not really quite publicly known. It's only the financial records that even state it. And in addition to that, they seem to also be affiliated and get funding from March Technologies. And it seems that they do biomedical research and research development stuff for the government with them.
Some.
And can you also do me a luck roll as well, Parsnip, as well?
Okay. Because I was going to ask, does March Technologies mean anything to me, or is it just another company?
Does one of the other agents want to answer that?
That would be the cleanup crew we almost ran into at the focus group location.
So I rolled a luck roll.
Yes. What did you get on that?
It seems the dice have turned against me. 84.
Right. Hey, it wasn't a fail. It wasn't a fumble. So make note of that. All right. Yeah. And so you're able to look into that. Was there anything else anybody else was looking into while the others got the stuff from the green box?
Just scoping out that building,
yeah.
I think. Yeah.
Oh,
Sean
yes.
and I were going
Yeah.
to scope it out,
Yeah. I mean, kind of sort of corroborates what you knew already. Seems to be, high-rise apartment building. There's a doorman, security cameras. You have to sort of, finagle your way in there or have a warrant or a seemingly good reason, but
fire doors.
Yes, yeah, there is indeed there's a fire door on the first floor. There's a fire escape for the apartments that are, second floor and above. You potentially could get to the access ladder, but you'd have to climb up on something or, have something to jump off of to get to the second floor of the fire escape. And you assume that the windows are also locked.
Unless we have a good story for the doorman, we're gonna have to go on one of those other doors.
Yeah, I got nothing.
Or else we just get Mr. Phelps out here. I'm planning to stay overnight. I want to see if he actually shows up here at all. If this is a cover, this may just be a nothing address.
Is this one of those buildings where there's you buzz in, you buzz the number of the apartment or whatever?
It is not. There is a doorman. Mm-hmm. And so you give, you talk to the doorman and then he lets you through. All right. Anything else before we jump back? If you're going to stake out that for the night?
Yeah, I will be here for a while. Yeah.
All right. So, Paragon, you are, you two are just arriving back at the little Airbnb sort of headquarters you got set up. And Paragon, you are looking up this rifle, and it's actually going to be a 0-1 sanity roll, because you realize that this gun is actually an NFA Class 3 registered machine gun, and in the name Andy Yang. What would you get on the roll?
I passed.
Okay, so yeah, so you don't take anything, but you kind of have this moment of, the fuck? I mean, maybe there was another agent who was going by Andy Yang, it's common name, two common names put together, but that's very eerie that it's legitimately registered, it's to this Andy Yang. And it is, it is a registered machine gun with, burst fire capabilities.
It's mine now.
But yeah, and so you arrive and can, with Parsnip and Prada, you probably get some sort of update from the others that they're staking out things. So right. You can chat with your, using your devices.
Oh, so you said that if we're all updating each other, so we have a connection now between Wuxi and the family of the kid that was killed by London. That can't be a coincidence.
I don't
wonder.
want to mess with March.
It may not be we messing with March. It might be March messing with us.
Remind me clearly who March is. March is.
I was going to say, perhaps we should remind, not perhaps us also for the audience. So March Technologies, the Outlaws would know, they are kind of on the opposite end of things. They're kind of like the actual Men in Black who are not doing this just to save the people from the mythos. They're doing this for their own reasons. They research into weird things for the U.S. government. They're affiliated with the sort of boogeyman of the Majestic that that your organization fought with for a while. That there was sort of a
Okay.
It was kind of summed up to you by your recruiters as a merger of sorts happened, and there is a sort of like some people from your group took over their group apparently, some part of it, and you kind of leave each other alone now. The March Technologies works with the government, and you work as a conspiracy. But
So
stay away from them, is what you were told.
if March is involved, then are they trying to get a hold of London's blood to weaponize it? I mean, we speculated earlier that I said the military, but this is.
I don't think we want that to happen. It needs to be destroyed.
Yeah. Because that could be an awful weapon. I mean, you could spray it over a country and wipe out every living thing.
This is big. So Dr. Chen, he's got relations to March Technologies. Should we reassess our how we're going to approach the Chens now that we know this information? I think it's even better if they don't even know about us. We don't even contact them.
I agree.
Yeah.
And I'm now starting to think even more so that we need to simply remove the problem, which is London. Get in, get out, disappear. We don't know how to get rid of London. If she's resistant even to bullets.
Brass knuckles.
Yeah. Now we got to get really close. What if the blood splashes on you?
Yeah. And
a bomb?
Might be hard getting hazmat suits as well.
Do any of us have, how do you get close to her in hazmat suits?
Yeah.
A concussive bomb of some sort certainly would obliterate her.
Maybe we could find her car and rig a bomb on her car. They're going along a mountain road. I know this is all very Hollywood, but
Lucy and Nancy did identify that she appeared to arrive in a limousine to the Quick Lab.
Yeah, something that we could hide on the thing and blow up by remote.
And where are we going to find these explosives?
Well,
we'd have to procure them.
I have no demolitions expertise at all.
Neither do I. And there wasn't anything in the green box we could cobble together.
Yeah, I'm sure a demolitions expert would be able to put stuff together from
we could
chemicals. But
worst case scenario, we could just get a big truck and just push her off the road.
Well, we don't want her injured. We want her exploded. Otherwise, she just heal and come back. Toss her in a pool full of acid or something.
Yeah, those of you do remember BB. When you found BB, she had been like her limbs had been cut off and were fusing back together. So
Right. We could burn her. I'm sure burning works. I mean, I'm not sure burning works, but I think burning works.
As you brainstorm, we'll quickly jump back to Patch and Pawn. So how exactly did you want to stake out sort of from the car? What's the setup sort of look like?
Car, I guess. Just keep an eye out for this person. Pawn,
We know
are
where
you
their
thinking?
apartment is
Are you
too.
thinking we pry open the emergency doors?
That's kind of my. If we decide to move in tonight, I am not going to talk my way past a doorman.
No, I'm not either. You don't think opening up the emergency door would set off an alarm, though?
It's possible. We could also try to go to the second story, but I assume this neighborhood would be pretty obvious if you were scaling the outside of a building.
That too.
Let's
Worst
you do
comes to
alerts.
worst, we
Sorry.
flash a badge, burn the IDs later. I mean, obviously we don't have our real ones. Flash a badge, say we're here to talk to him. Burn the ID afterward.
Could I get
That could
alertness
work.
rolls from both of you, please? Yeah.
31 out under 70. So
Okay.
It's a success. 36 out of.
So you will both
55.
actually notice from behind, like you see in the mirrors of your vehicle, you see a man who looks like he's trying to look like he's just walking down the side of the road. But you pick up that he's heading towards your car. And as he gets a little closer, you catch in the street light, it is Frank Phillips, seemingly.
we're not as stealthy as we think.
And he sort of, unless you do anything, he kind of comes up and knocks on the window.
Pawn will get out. Can we help you?
Says, come on, you don't think I've done that trick myself? We should talk. I think we're birds of a feather. Where's the rest of your team?
That's not for you to worry about. Where did you want to meet?
Wherever works for you all is fine. I think I have some stuff that might interest you, and perhaps we can help each other out.
Look back in the car.
Are you giving me the high sign to come out? I'm assuming we would know.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'll get out. I'm assuming I heard all this anyway. What exactly is it you think you can give us? And what exactly is it you think we can give you?
Well, you're looking into London Sinclair, aren't you?
What makes you think that?
You were at the phlebotomy lab just as I was.
Were we?
You were. He kind of laughs. He's like, you were.
Right.
Good work handling that little can of worms, I suppose. But listen, I have some information about London. I work for some people who might have similar goals to yours. They see how dangerous the situation is, and how it could get out of hand. And so they've hired me to try to look into it and maybe take care of it. Right now, I'm just relaying information, but I think, like I said, we can help each other out. I think our goals are more aligned than you think.
Why don't we
Very
go for
well.
a ride?
Yeah.
Once you get
Please.
in.
All right, sure. And he'll step inside the vehicle.
Okay. Immediately
Yep.
texting everyone we're going to meet somewhere, not that Airbnb.
But yeah,
Denny's.
We'll drive out by one of the state parks. I hear they're beautiful.
Okay. Yeah. So texting everyone, meet us. I'll drop a pin, something. Yeah.
I'd like him to sit on the passenger side up front so that Patch has a good angle from behind if he tries to get, fresh.
Yeah, and I am leaning. My presence is being felt.
Yeah, and you can tell from you both have a decent human that he seems like he is definitely guarded, or he's like he's not like relaxed, but he's not nervous. So like he's not like worried that you might see through his scheme or whatever, that you're gonna take him away or whatever. He seems somewhat just sort of normal. Like I said, not quite relaxed, but not necessarily super suspicious or like he's trying to pull the wool over your eyes. He seems like he genuinely wants to chat about some sort of an agreement or
Well, while we're on the way, why don't you tell me who it is that you work for?
Let's just say I work for some people who have had their lives impoverished by London's actions or carelessness. And they also they seek to I suppose in one way to get justice for what happened, and also to make sure that she doesn't hurt people in the future. They prefer I keep their names out of it, though. Let's I was hoping to speak with all of you at once, but I guess while I'm here, why don't you catch me up on what you all know so far, and that way I know what I can contribute that you might not already know.
How about first we describe, you tell us how exactly you were able to find where London was going and why the hell you didn't stop her.
Well, I have my sources. Paparazzi picked her up at the airport. So I was able to track her limo once I was there. You'd be surprised what some of these paparazzis are willing to do and what information they're willing to give you for the right price. Well, so first of all, do you know about the prior incident that happened that is eerily like this one? Have you seen you surely haven't seen the video, but do you know about what happened on the set of London Falling?
I can't say that we had uncovered that one.
Yes, it seems that this wasn't the first time London was careless and it got somebody killed. I'd have to hear. Why don't I have the photo, but I was hoping to show it to your whole team.
We'll be there soon enough.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if we were just driving around or. All right.
Meeting.
Yeah,
we're going to meet them.
Yeah, we're going.
All right.
I drive the speed limit. It will take us a while.
He says, well, she was, she was doing her thing, partying, getting drunk, trying to, find a way out of her problems that way. And, I have a little, little video. And he pulls out his phone, and he'll go to show whichever one isn't driving the video. And it kind of depicts, you see, it looks like it's some sort of hidden camera footage, maybe some sort of paparazzi or somebody got it. And it depicts a limousine, driving in. You hear Jess get out of the driver's end, and remark, he's like, "Can't believe you drank 6 fucking bottles of whiskey. You gotta get a handle on it, girl." And you see her kind of get out, and she's like kind of she's rather intoxicated and rather angry, and she slams the door of the limo and accidentally pinches her finger in it. And so she, exclaims and kind of, sucks on it. And then she kind of, wrings it out. And then there is a scream. And you hear, the sort of the scream, and that's when the video cuts. And it seems like That is the reason that that her sort of her mother figure, her makeup artist, had a heart attack randomly. It seems that this speck of her blood was flung and sort of got into or onto her somehow.
So you're showing me this video of a young woman who slams her finger in a car door and someone yells off camera. This.
I mean, that's London Sinclair.
Well, yes, it's London Sinclair. But what is it you're showing me that is proof of anything? What do you think is happening here in this video?
What do you mean?
You seem to think this video is something important. All I see is she slammed her finger in the door, someone yells off camera, scene cuts.
Yeah, and he pulls out a crime scene photo, and he shows you, it looks like it's this woman's body on this movie set, and it looks exploded. This very same way that the original sort of James Chen's body is found, the same thing with Quick Lab. He's like, you tell me that this doesn't look exactly like what y'all found at the Quick Lab.
Heart attack. That was a hell of a cover-up. While Pawn is driving, I'll be checking for tails, make sure nobody's following us as well.
Yeah, I mean,
listen, I hate to. She is some kind of monster, and that is just the brass tack of it. And it's a shame for her, but she cannot go on just doing this and getting people killed either directly or through her careless actions.
So it goes back to the question. Why have you and your benefactors not done something about it? Why are you letting her go?
What do you think I'm doing here? I don't want to do anything directly illegal if I don't have to, but I'm just trying to get some proof and or get her to make another mistake.
Don't you think that's what the phlebotomy office was?
No, I mean like a mistake that we can catch her on.
So you want to drag her to what? Jail?
You
want to arrest her? Put her through a trial for exploding people?
She needs to be taken care of so that this doesn't happen anymore. And I mean, this wasn't even the first time that's not even the first time it happened. Have you seen the what was it, the stuff with the CDC with the Find My Family website?
I'm not familiar with that.
The Chen boy?
Yeah. Brutal. Absolutely brutal. To think, that poor teenage boy.
Well, you seem to have some insight to London Sinclair. Why do you think she does these things?
I don't know. All I know is, like I said, she's some kind of monster. And yeah, that poor boy. Yeah. And I mean, oh gosh, it's just, I mean, like I said, part of me feels a little bad for her, but her actions show that she doesn't care. I mean, she just wants to get messed up and not feel about her problems, or whatever the psychologists say. But she obviously is continuing to act careless and get people killed.
How did you know she was going to be there?
Beware.
At the phlebotomy lab.
Oh, I followed the limo.
Do you know where she is now?
I don't.
Seems like you're letting a very dangerous person just pop up in and out. Do you take all your jobs this seriously?
What do you think I'm doing here? All right.
I think you're letting an incredibly dangerous person go because you're too afraid to do what you know needs to be done.
And trying to get two strangers whom you really know nothing about to do your dirty work. You don't know who
I don't need you to do my dirty work, but I'm only one guy.
You're the one that got in a car with two people you don't even know.
Listen, why don't we, are we almost there? I have something to show you, but I want to show all of you this time.
Yeah, I'm assuming we're pulling into Topanga Canyon State Park.
It's
And
dry,
so,
it's desolate.
Yeah,
Perfect.
meet up with the others. Does anybody, not want to be there, want to be hiding or anything like that? Or you all happy with meeting up with them?
Yeah, I'm here.
We were told to show up, but maybe I'll stay in the car just in case this is a trap.
Yeah, so as they pull up, he gets out. He's like, howdy, you can call me Phillips. Listen, I was telling, your compatriots here that, I'm a PI myself. I'm working for some people who have, I think, similar goals to yours. They want to stop London. They don't want that monster to keep going on, causing this kind of thing to happen. So here, as a token of my, amicableness and willing to work with you all, so we have similar goals here. To prove that, have this. And he takes out, he again takes out his phone. He's like, have you all seen the sex tape? The full one, not the shitty version. All right. Well, I suppose a little content warning here before I, click play. This, you know what this is. And he goes on. He says, and so he just goes ahead and plays it. And this version is a little more, a little clearer. It's not as blurry from being, refilmed over and over again, and it has audio. So all of you that are looking, go ahead and do a sanity roll, just a 0-1, as you are all looking, and you can confirm this is, with the better look and the full thing, not just 30-second cutout. This, it's Jess Bell. It's between London Sinclair and Jess Bell. In fact, there's a sort of moment where the Phelps is like, see, it's him. I told you, if it wasn't, he would have popped like a zit. For some reason, he's immune to it. And you're looking, and it also looks like, sounds like there's some sort of mumbling and groaning being made by the male that you have identified as just Bell. And those of you who want can go ahead and make an unnatural roll. But yeah, he does this weird sort of mumbling and groaning. And then there is looks like eventually, London, is like, cut that shit out or we're done. And then, soon enough, the video's over, the tape ends. Oh, what was that, Patch? I think you're muted.
Oh, sorry. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
All right. Sorry about that. It just kind of already confirms what we suspected, that it's Jess Bell.
I mean, but you see, it's something about, like, why didn't he pop like a zit?
Mr. Phelps, can I give you a word of advice?
Yeah.
Find a new job.
What is that supposed to mean?
It means find a new job. You're not ready to do this.
Because he's like, no, don't you see? He's one of them. That's why he's able to do this. He's like mutated, an alien or something, like she is.
Do you have anything else? Is there anything else?
I mean, are you all willing to work with me here, or are you just?
Who do you work
that's
for
it?
exactly?
Two people who have been affected by London's actions. That, like you, don't want this to go on. So you gonna work with me to help take down this monster, or are we just gonna fucking run circles around each other and be doing the same thing separately?
Tell you what, I'll give you a number. And if you actually have something useful, you can give it a call. Maybe when London shows up next time, you let us know. And we'll come help you.
Are you going to do the same for me?
Sure.
All right. Sure. Yeah. And here, if you didn't have it already, here's my number.
It doesn't even look at it. But he'll give him his burner phone number.
He's like, all right, well, like I said, if you're willing to, share with me a little bit what and work with me here, I have more.
You just said that was all you had.
Did I say that? Sorry. No, I have something else, but I don't know. It doesn't seem like y'all want to work with me. So why would I give it to you?
We'll just go directly to your bosses if we need. Or we'll loop you in if you'll do the same.
My bosses? What? You don't know who my bosses are.
You have a pretty good idea who your bosses are.
Like I said, find a new line of work, Mr. Phelps.
All right. Well, like I said, if you want to help me take down a monster, give me a call. If that's that, I guess I'll, make my way and call a cab down the road. So
Don't worry. No, I'll drive you back. Don't worry.
You sure? I don't want to, take too much trouble for you.
It's no trouble at all.
Sure. Thanks. And so there's a little bit of a, he awkwardly gets back in the car. Is there anything else anybody wants to say before they drive off?
Now when he's safely tucked into the car and we zhush over a little bit. What do you make of this guy?
I relay the information about March Technologies.
Isn't that a glorious day?
If he's working for March, I think we shouldn't touch him because we don't want to spark anything.
I actually agree with that.
Yeah.
I think we
so make sure Pond doesn't give him lead poisoning.
Did he give any indication at all that he knows about Delta Green?
The thing is, he recognized us from the phlebotomy lab, which means he was hanging around the phlebotomy lab after they said he left. I don't know if he knows anything other than that. He did not.
Well,
I'm sure the handler is going to be overjoyed.
He probably just thinks that we're some sort of investigation team.
He did say he compared us to him. Like he was saying, we're the same. You're just like me. So it's possible that he just thinks we're private investigators.
Or working for some rival organization.
I don't know that he doesn't seem savvy enough to be like a March 8th.
I didn't get the impression that he was professional.
I think they just hired this dude.
Something else that it tells us is that whoever they are, well, we think it's the Chens, they don't know how to kill her.
Have they tried in the
haven't.
past? Yeah.
She's killed what now we got a total of 3 people that we know of, or 4 or 5 people.
That we have evidence for.
They haven't done anything, or they haven't been able to do anything. Because that would be the first thing that they would want to do, right? Kill her. Isn't that what he's implying? We're on the same side.
Yeah, and he keeps saying, get the monster, kill the monster. Why aren't they doing it?
Maybe they're in the same bucket we are, that they can't figure it out.
And meanwhile, so Pawn, as you're driving him back, he kind of looks over you from the passenger seat. He says, I used to work for the government myself. Now I'm just a private detective. But I know how it is in the business. I know how information is. No hard feelings. You feel free to give me a call if you want to work. If you want to be a little more. We're together on this.
Mr. Phillips, have you ever shot anyone?
I have.
And you had a good reason at the time.
Yeah, I was doing my job.
So why haven't you done it now? You have a murderer in your sights.
Bullets don't. There's a moment where he kind of you pick up that he's not sure if he should reveal something that he knows, but he kind of shrugs. Bullets don't.
No, I'm aware of what bullets don't do.
Mm-hmm.
Are you
Also,
not a creative man, Mr. Phelps?
I mean, as I mentioned, I prefer to not have to do anything illegal. I don't want to go to jail. But I also, want to get this done, and I don't want, her to be able to hurt people anymore. So
is that not what the fake identity is for? You're not ready to lose just 2 years of work? It's not that hard.
What's more that I need to get? Listen, if it comes to it, then yes, I'll do it. But, prefer it if we can do this a little more above board.
That makes sense. So 10 more bodies, 20. What's the limit?
We're working on it.
Wonderful.
I'm working on it.
Well, while you're working on it, we'll try and keep that number a little bit lower, shall we?
I mean, yes, that's the intention. I mean, yeah, like I said, trying to get some proof or get her to make a mistake that we can call her out on, really catch her in.
Yeah. Well, looks like we're pulling up. Good luck, Mr. Phelps.
Mm-hmm. Good luck to you too. Yeah, be careful with that bodyguard of hers. That's more the thing I'm worried about taking down.
Oh, I know. Really, you had no plan? Whatever.
What? I just told you that I had a plan. And he gets out and seems to go inside of his building.
Pulling away, driving back.
Yeah, and you regroup with the others a little bit of the ways into their conversation.
I delivered the clown.
It's not a clown. He's
The whole
perfect
fucking
fall
circus.
guy. No, he's the perfect fall guy.
Yes.
If we assassinate her, we can blame the whole thing on him. Or we can have it look like he did it.
Yeah.
That's a very good point.
That kills two birds with one stone. Well, at least there's no way they'll trace it back to Delta Green.
Worst case, they trace it back to his boss, which
How easily he not identified, but seemed to understand that we were on the same wavelength. I don't like that.
We're walking through a minefield. He works for someone who is working for March Technologies, so
I think after this is all over, we're all going to have to change our names, identities, facial reconstructive surgery, and move to the Caribbean or something.
But we also know that we have a big advantage over Mr. Phelps. He's not willing to do anything illegal, not easily.
What did they hire this clown for then? You're not willing to kill anyone? What's his purpose then?
should we ask his boss then?
Why don't you roll a human for me as well, Pawn? As you're thinking about the private conversation you had, on the way home.
6 under 60.
You do remember you think he might have slipped because he said when you mentioned something about the bodies and not doing anything, he said we're working on it, as in we're. And he also did say that he mentioned that he works for
Working alone.
he mentioned he works for 2 people that London got affected. So it seems like he was alluding to specific 2 people he was working for. However, you did also feel like the way he said it, especially since he said it twice, he's willing to break the law. He just doesn't. It's his last resort, and rather, it didn't seem like he had any problem with like getting someone killed. It was more that he didn't want to do the killing himself.
Hopefully, I gave him the impression that we were willing to do the killing, so maybe he'll call on us.
He's caught in between. March wants her alive to exploit. The Chens want her dead because she murdered their son. We want her dead because she's a ticking time bomb. And we don't want March to get her.
So are you suggesting we do contact the Chins? I'm sorry, Parsnip. Go ahead.
No, I think
We
That's
should
also
contact our
scary.
handler first, just to let them know.
We at least know roughly where she is. They don't.
Yeah, we also have to be careful because even contacting B cell or A cell, they might say, yeah, we're taking you guys all off the case. Maybe we want to get a little farther before we get taken off the case.
That's true.
Get the job done. I'm afraid if we contact the Chins, March will become fully aware that we are involved. That's really dangerous. So we have to track her and Jess Bell down and get rid of them somehow.
And it makes me concerned that Mr. Phelps, I think he has access to that cleanup crew. So,
oh, and there's just something else that's irritating me. What if Phelps just set us up to be the murderers? If we were gonna set him up to be the murderer, maybe he just set us up to be the murderer.
Well, if it ends up with her dead.
Yeah, as long as we can disappear afterwards, I think we're fine.
we're doing the world a service.
Shit, now that March is involved, I almost think maybe we don't want to kill her because March is after her. We need to get her the hell away from them. What a twisted web.
I don't think the world benefits from having London Sinclair in it, regardless of the motives of March Industries.
Yeah.
I suspect too that Phelps and the Chins, maybe they understand that this goes beyond London. Because if that's the case, that's another reason they're afraid to do anything. Killing a starlet, even in the public eye, is not that difficult. He said he was afraid of the bodyguard, still not that difficult. Said they were working on it. The danger is if you kill someone that has a large family that is gunning for blood.
I really don't want to spend the rest of my life running from or trying to track down the entire Bell clan. Don't know about you all.
Well, that might be an overall project for Delta Green if that's a big problem.
Honestly, that would be my recommendation. In our final reports, if we're still alive to give it, Bell clan's got to go.
So we're keeping this from the handler.
Well, not necessarily. It's
No, I'm just
they want us to do our job and then inform them. So
yeah, it'll be
Which
my
is-
final recommendation. I don't think they want constant updates either, unless it's important.
Okay,
After
so
all,
we'll
our-
do the job and then inform them.
one of our mandates is to go in, find the problem, get rid of it, and then inform the ASO.
I mean, if we do have a large scale conflict with March Technologies, that could spell the end for Delta Green. It's bigger than just this op.
Well, it's not only bigger, but they're willing to use hypergeometry and alien technology. We need to get rid of March. That's we just now we change. We're going to all get rid of March. That's
It's like, Handler, we have a new plan. We're going to get rid of March Technologies. The fuck you are.
Yeah, that's where ACEL has to make some decisions.
But if the Chins too know about the weird Bell behavior, we do need to address that at some level. Whether March knows what they know, they know how dangerous they are.
Yeah, I think the Chins, I think your point is really good. The Chins are a loose end that needs tied up.
And maybe a more friendly loose end than March would be.
Well, look, knowing about something is not a criminal offense. If we can eliminate the Farnsworths and the Bells, then it doesn't matter if they know about them. They're just crackpots.
Another name to add to all of this is the fact that heart attack by the woman on set was another explosion. Who is covering all of this up? Who is reporting a heart attack for something that you could just come up with a different excuse? This is clearly cover up. I'm wondering what the public record is for the death of James Chang.
It's Barkley.
Record say?
It's Barkley.
Yeah. Barkley's probably the next person we need to talk to.
That's what I'm saying. He's covering it up, and I'm wondering why.
We need to find out who he's working for.
Well, if he's with Delta Green, then that's what he's doing.
That's great. But if he's covering all this up and not dealing with it, that doesn't necessarily scream Delta Green to me.
You know, the first two incidents might have been accidents on London's part. It sounds definitely like flicking your hand with blood. It's just an accident.
I do agree. I agree.
But the third one is damning.
Yeah. But if Berkeley was a Delta Green agent and saw what she was capable of and chose not to act as grossly irresponsible, I'm inclined to think he's not Delta Green, whatever he is.
Or he could have been under orders.
Possible, but...
Right. Yeah.
Of course, he could be in the same boat we are and not know exactly how to deal with her. Precisely.
That's true.
With the CDC and with London's parents' deaths, which came first?
Make sure I'm not telling you something wrong. I believe it would be let's see here. The incident it was 2007 when her parents died, and I believe the incidents were before that. Hold on. Yes, it seems that first because it was January. In January of 2007 is when James Chen unfortunately died, and then later that year is when her parents died in a car accident.
Oh, Berkeley covering up the car. Have we considered that the Chins attempted to assassinate London?
They know powerful people. There might be retaliation.
Well, we're also assuming that the Chins knew something about London. They might have originally been completely in the dark,
right,
about what caused their son's death, and that they've pieced it together the way that we have. That could be also the reason why they haven't done anything up until now, because they didn't piece it together yet.
Right. I thought Berkeley was on the LAPD when he was working with the CDC case, correct?
Yes, he was a sergeant, and now he's a lieutenant.
Very good. I would agree, though. There's something very wrong. But if James died, maybe they thought she had done something strange and they tried to kill. And then just had Berkeley cover everything up. Is he friendly to them? Friendly to us? Man, I would really just love to take out London Sinclair. Boy, that would be easy.
That has to be our end goal regardless.
Well, yeah, she's definitely a problem that needs to be. Well, she's an alien entity or something, and that's our mandate. We don't actually get to answer half these questions. That's ACEL's job. We do what we're told, and that's eliminate the problem that we found. And hope, and I mean, we got to see that it's not a bigger problem than what we're seeing. But yeah, she's got to go. And it might be that the Chins have to go. And I mean, we don't know. We don't know yet.
All right. Well, sounds like we have a number of leads for next time that you wanted to look up on. You still got the sealed adoption records. You've got the open auto accident case with Barkley. You've got the Chens. So what were you all thinking is your next move that we want to start our next little episode with, next session?
Start with Berkeley.
Start with Berkeley. All right.
Yeah.
Barkley.
Yep.
Cool. All right. Yeah. So you all can call and set something up with Lieutenant Barkley, and that will be where we will pick up next time. Awesome.
Cool. Our players included Holly Buto, Nathan Decker, Julian Arba, Alex Sun, and myself with John Dos Passos as the keeper of the secrets. We have a Discord server where you can chat with our other members, you can set up private games, and you can learn the finer arts of gameplay and game mastering. We provide audio-only versions of our shows free for you to download from Podbean or iTunes. If you'd like to help support our show, please visit our Patreon account. Just $1 a month helps us a lot. Like, share, and subscribe to our channel and punch the bell icon for updates on our latest shows. And leave us some comments. We enjoy reading them and answering any questions you might have. This is Tom Rayleigh, together with all the members of our gaming club, inviting you to journey with us once again into the darkness for another adventure into the universe of H.P. Lovecraft and the Delta Green role-playing game. Until next time, good luck and good gaming.